Dogman is one of the DreamWorks animations set to release in 2025, and we're certain it's going to be phenomenal.
Dogman!
But do you know what the story of this production might be? Here's a hint. It looks absolutely incredible.
Why do you always gotta lick the inside of my mouth?
How do we know? A few leaks revealed that some of the franchise's most important characters, including the cybernetic fish Flippy and Lil Petey, the clone of Dogman's most famous enemy, will appear in the movie, even though they weren't shown in the first trailer. The question is, how will they fit into the story? Will they side with Dogman or fight against him? We investigated all these leaks and are here to tell you everything we found. Want to know more about the possible plot of DreamWorks' Dogman animation? Hop on, because another Cinewave is starting now. Some people might not know this, but the story of Dogman is based on a globally famous series of children's books. Both the trailers and leaks suggest that Dogman will not only stay true to the original material, but also adapt some of the saga's best books into one epic, emotional story. One of these books is the very first one. While it's possibly the simplest story of the character, it's crucial because it introduces Dogman's origin and the franchise's main characters, like the villain Petey. Just from watching the movie trailer, we can already confirm that this story will play an essential role. After all, the trailer begins by showing Officer Knight and his dog being blown up, leading to their fusion and the creation of Dogman, directly lifted from the first volume of the saga. But this isn't the only book being adapted. The second and third volumes, Unleashed and A Tale of Two Kitties, are also heavily influencing the movie. Another volume likely to shape the story is Mothering Heights, which dives deeper into Petey's backstory. We'll explore this in more detail later. Producers of the movie confirmed that Dogman will adapt parts of the first book, especially at the beginning. So does this mean the film starts with Knight and his dog trying to disarm a bomb and getting blown up? Yes, that's going to happen. But first, we'll likely be introduced to Harold and George, the two protagonists of the Captain Underpants book series, also written by Dav Pilkey, the creator of Dogman. Like how Captain Underpants is a character created by the boys, Dogman is too. All the Dogman stories are essentially comics written and illustrated by Harold and George. The movie will probably show the boys creating Dogman, transitioning into the character's fantastical world. There, we'll meet Officer Knight and his dog Greg, an unusual pair of cops. Knight is strong, but not the brightest, while Greg is clever, but held back by his canine body. In the first book, Petey realizes the duo isn't much of a threat individually, but could be dangerous together, so he sets up a trap to blow them up, and it works. It's likely the movie's bomb, as shown in the trailer, will also be a trap laid by the evil cat, strategically placed in an abandoned factory to harm no one but the duo. After the incident, the injured pair is rushed to Nurse Lady, who performs an outrageous procedure to save them. She fuses Greg's head to Knight's body, creating Dogman. With this, the city's newest hero emerges, becoming the ultimate crime fighter. Reporting his heroic deeds will be Sarah Hadoff, the world's greatest journalist. She'll often appear on TV to reflect public sentiment about Dogman and occasionally assist him with her wealth of information. Another steadfast ally is the Chief, the grumpy yet kind-hearted head of the police department. He'll send Dogman on missions and offer gruff encouragement along the way. If you'd like to be Dogman's friend, drop a #friend in the comments below. Stay tuned for more videos about your favorite animated stories. Speaking of cops, we'll likely see Maude make an appearance in a few scenes. She's an officer who absolutely despises Dogman and constantly mocks him out of sheer jealousy. While Maude probably won't have a major role, we can expect her to show up in 2 or 3 scenes, as she's a recurring character in the books. Of course, Dogman's growing fame is bound to infuriate Petey. His original plan to eliminate a threat backfired, resulting in the creation of the greatest police officer of all time. This drives the cunning cat to take matters into his own paws and plot to destroy Dogman once and for all. This sets up the first major battle of the movie, Dogman vs. Petey. It's going to be a fierce fight, but there's no doubt that Dogman will come out on top, ultimately capturing the villain and throwing him into cat jail. Unfortunately, Petey's stay in cat jail won't last long. As you can guess, this facility is designed specifically to hold criminal felines. In addition to Petey, it houses Big Jim, a large bumbling cat. Petey's escape plan? Something ridiculously simple. He'll convince Big Jim to jump on one side of a seesaw. Since Jim is incredibly heavy, the other side, where Petey will be, will catapult him into the air and out of prison. This exact escape tactic is straight from the first Dogman book. A concept art leak shows Petey being flung out of cat jail, confirming the scene will be faithfully adapted for the film. Who's not thrilled about this jailbreak? The mayor. She'll confront the chief, furious that Petey has escaped yet again. Naturally, the chief will assign Dogman the task of recapturing him. However, here's a twist. In the books, the mayor secretly aids Petey's escape. Why? She's secretly a criminal herself. Her ultimate goal is to discredit the chief as incompetent, paving the way to replace him with a robotic police chief who will obey her every command. That way, she can ensure no investigations threaten her shady dealings. Since DreamWorks is clearly introducing this character into the film, it's highly likely they'll preserve her underhanded motives and have her help Petey escape once again. Everything up to this point in the movie is pulled directly from the first Dogman book, but from here on, the story will likely draw heavily from the second and third books, as the next significant event is the introduction of Flippy. Flippy, the chief's pet fish, meets an unfortunate fate, dying due to an accident or neglect. His body is donated to a scientist conducting an experiment to revive him as a cybernetic organism. However, the attempt fails. Even with technological enhancements, Flippy remains lifeless. But Petey sees potential. Recognizing the value of Flippy's advanced tech, he decides to steal the fish. The trailer shows the chief assigning Dogman to monitor the security cameras where Flippy is stored. Unfortunately, Dogman's easily distracted nature means he completely misses Petey breaking in. Petey successfully abducts Flippy, triggering another exhilarating chase scene. However, this time, Petey gets away. Back in his lab, Petey extracts a rare component from Flippy's cybernetic body. It's the missing piece he needs to activate his cloning machine. With it operational, he finally creates a clone of himself to serve as his loyal henchman. But the results don't go as planned. Instead of a fearsome accomplice, the machine produces a baby version of Petey, Lil Petey. Worse still, the clone isn't even evil. Petey is utterly disappointed and decides to abandon Lil Petey by leaving him in a box on the street, hoping someone else will take him in. What Petey never anticipated was that Lil Petey would soon be found and adopted by none other than his archenemy, Dogman. The two soon become the best of friends. And you know what we never anticipated? You hitting the subscribe button. It would be an amazing surprise. And trust us, you won't regret it. You'll get daily videos about all your favorite animated stories. After abandoning his clone, Petey starts to regret his decision. After all, Lil Petey is essentially his own son. In this moment of despair, Petey seeks help from his former housekeeper, the butler, who was fired a long time ago. She refuses to help him, which prompts Petey to reflect on why he fired her in the first place. He saw her as nothing more than a tool without feelings. This realization makes him acknowledge that he had treated his clone in the same way, likely because Petey himself was raised by his own father, Crud, in a similar manner. Determined to make amends, Petey creates the robot ADHD as a gift for little Petey, hoping it will earn his forgiveness and convince him to embrace a life of villainy. Lil Petey agrees to go with him, but only to lead him to Crud, Petey's abusive father. Crud was also a notorious villain in his day and mistreated Petey, shaping him into the person he became. In the books, Crud becomes a major antagonist. However, based on leaked images, it's likely that Crud has completely retired from his life of crime. Whether he remains a villain or not, the key point is that he will likely be regretful of how he treated his son. The two may have a heartfelt conversation to finally resolve their troubled past. This scene will probably include flashbacks depicting Petey's tragic backstory, much like in the Mothering Heights book. After addressing his personal demons, Petey is likely to decide to turn over a new leaf and become a good guy to make his son proud. The mayor, desperate for a villain to highlight the chief's supposed incompetence, realizes Petey is no longer useful to her plans. In a last-ditch effort, she obtains Flippy's body and uses a special serum to revive him with super psychic powers. Flippy returns from the dead, but his newfound powers drive him insane with rage, transforming him into a highly destructive force. To combat this massive threat, Petey, Lil Petey, and ADHD team up with Dogman. This sets the stage for the film's climactic final battle, where Flippy uses his telekinesis to transform an entire building into a giant Megazord-like monster. Meanwhile, Dogman and his allies pilot a giant robot, designed by Petey, to fight the colossal creation. After an epic showdown, Flippy is defeated and taken into custody. Petey then exposes the mayor's crimes, leading to her arrest as well. With all the chaos resolved, Dogman and his newfound friends, including his former archenemy, celebrate together at his house. This joyful conclusion will wrap up what promises to be an incredible movie. This summary is based on events from the books, official trailers, and various leaks about the movie. While we can't know every detail for sure, you can be confident that the film will deliver this level of excitement, or maybe even surpass it. If you want to keep the fun going, check out the two amazing videos on your screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!